Chapter 709, The River Dividing Yin and Yang Realm. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. No one thought that Chi Hong, a sword holder, was killed by a monk of the Fish Dragon realm. Everyone thought he had been killed by the seriously injured Saint Lady. Saint Lady is currently severely wounded. Let's take this opportunity to get rid of her, Chi Yun said coldly. As Chi Dao lifted his head to glance at the mob of demons fierce in the tomb forest, his aged eyes betrayed an astonished look. He said, "This is very strange. How did so many wraiths in the deceased god's cemetery resurrect at the same time?" Chi Qiankon cleared his throat and said, "It's not surprising. They must have been awakened by the battle between Chi Hong and Saint Lady. Go finish them, Chi Dao. Chi Yun, follow me to pursue Saint Lady. We cannot let her escape from this medieval relic alive. Otherwise, the kids will be in great trouble." Chi Qiankun and Chi Yun seemed to deem the deceased god's cemetery a taboo, not daring to fly over it. They landed and then dashed into the tomb forest in different directions. Chi Dao, who had stayed behind, flew onto a tombstone and glanced over all of the demons fierce. He gave out a cold laugh. "Disperse." He stretched out an arm and punched his palm forward to create a wave of holy chi that surged forward. Every demon fierce that came into contact with his holy chi exploded immediately. Moments later, hundreds of demons fierce had been wiped out, leaving behind evil smog that rose into the sky. As a result, the sky was overcast and there appeared to be gaseous ink flowing all around. Chi Dao opened his mouth, sucked in all of the evil smog, and swallowed it into his stomach. He then sat cross-legged on the tombstone and began refining the evil smog by running exercises. Zhang Yuochen ran all the way into the tomb forest. The deeper he went into the forest, the more uncomfortable he felt. For hundreds of miles, the ground was covered with tombs and tombstones. He wondered how many people were actually buried here. The evil smog in the air intensified and there was a continuous stream of demons sly emerging from the evil smog to attack Zhang Yuochen. Fortunately, Zhang Yuochen was carrying a few treasures that could resist the demon sly's chi so that he did not meet much danger on the way. Finally, Zhang Yuochen caught up with Blackie and Saint Lady by a big river. He asked, "How come you only came up to here?" "See for yourself." Blackie stretched out its paw and pointed at the big river. Only then did Zhang Yuochen realize that the river before his eyes was a corpse river. The river banks on either side of the river were heaped with skeletons and bones, and they were giving off a foul smell. The water in the river was very filthy, dark and cold. Corpses and skeletons were continuously flowing down from upstream. Some got stuck at the river banks, while others were corroded by the water to become corpse water, and they became part of the river. Why is there a corpse river and where did all these corpses and skeletons come from? As Zhang Yuochen glanced upstream, he felt a chill going up his spine. Saint Lady said, "According to the Eastern region anecdotes, there is indeed a corpse river within the deceased god's cemetery. It is said to be the border between the yin and the yang realms. If you cross it, you will arrive at the netherworld." As Zhang Yuochen looked across the corpse river through the evil smog, he saw that there were rows of tombstones on the other side of the river as well. However, these tombstones were much taller and larger, and each of them was like a vertical mountain cliff. The netherworld? Zhang Yuochen looked at Saint Lady and asked, "Do you even believe this?" "I don't really believe in the existence of the netherworld," Saint Lady said. "However, according to the book, everyone who crossed the river never came back." Zhang Yuochen said, "I am afraid we don't have any other choice but to cross the river. I have a feeling the superiors of the Kiss have almost caught up to us. Let me see if this river is as dangerous as it is rumored to be." Zhang Yuochen ran holy chi so that it flowed out to form a faint dragon shadow around his body. He leapt forward and then wielded bodily movement to transform into a flood dragon that flew across the corpse river. However, after rushing forward for around 10 meters he suddenly felt a weight come upon him from the sky. He was forced to descend quickly. Zhang Yuochen reacted very quickly, transferring the holy chi to the soles of his feet. Riding on this force, he pushed with his feet to leap up and return to the river bank. "There's a strange force on the river so that even savage birds wouldn't be able to cross, let alone man," said Zhang Yuochen. Pain shot up Zhang Yuochen's left leg. He looked down and realized that a layer of skin on the leg that had touched the water had corroded. He immediately ran genuine Qi and injected it into the Yin Holy Meridian to refine the Yin Qi that had entered his foot. Saint Lady stretched out a snow-white arm and a small, exquisite bow took shape in the center of her palm. Interesting, little lass. How many things can you keep in your palm? Blackie asked as he looked intently at Saint Lady's palm. With great ambition in my heart, I could have the world in my palm. Saint Lady said, I could draw 100, or even 1,000 boats with my hand. What's the use of drawings? Blackie said with contempt. If I am willing, whatever I draw will come alive. Saint Lady stopped talking to Blackie and handed Jiang Yuochen the small boat. She said, this is a spiritual power holy weapon called skyrocketing boat. You can use it once you inject spiritual power into it. All of her spiritual power was being used to suppress the Qi of death. She could only rely on Jiang Yuochen to make the skyrocketing boat usable. Jiang Yuochen mobilized his spiritual power and tossed the little boat into the air. When the little boat landed on the Corpse River, it instantly turned into a 10-meter-long blue boat. By the time Qi Qiankan and Qi Yun arrived at the river, Jiang Yuochen and Saint Lady had already left on the skyrocketing boat. Qi Yun stood by the Corpse River and her face was somber as she said, we can't go forward from here because this is the border between the realms of Yin and Yang, otherwise we might barge into the Netherworld. We don't dare go into the Netherworld, neither does Saint Lady. Qi Qiankan pondered for a while and then said, let's split up and look for them. I will go upstream, while you go downstream. Do bear in mind not to fight Saint Lady even if you find her. You are not her match. Send me a message and I will come to you as soon as I can and finish her. Qi Qiankan and Qi Yun went in different directions, one upstream and the other downstream of the Corpse River. Qi Qiankan was correct to think that Jiang Yuochen and Saint Lady did not cross the Corpse River. They had merely hidden in the middle of the Corpse River in the skyrocketing boat and had their aura covered by corpse Qi from the river water. They drifted downstream along the river. Jiang Yuochen took off the shooting star invisible cloak and injected holy Qi into it. The cloak gradually grew to cover the skyrocketing boat and eventually wrapped round it. We are camouflaged by the invisible cloak and our aura is covered by the corpse Qi. I am sure the Qis will not be able to find us even if they catch up with us. Jiang Yuochen breathed a sigh of relief as he returned to the little boat. There's nothing to be happy about. Sitting in the boat together, the elegant Saint Lady lifted her beautiful face and said, the Qis are unable to detect our whereabouts, but in the same way, the people sent by the Imperial Court and Yin and Yang sect to rescue us won't be able to find us. Are we then going to keep floating down the Corpse River? Who knows, we might meet greater danger on the Corpse River. Jiang Yuochen said, it's impossible to send out messages through signal flare from this medieval relic. The suzerain and the Imperial Court may not even know that we are in danger. Saint Lady shook her head and said, you have underestimated your value. I am pretty sure once they realize that you are missing, the Yin and Yang sect will engage a psychic sage to determine your whereabouts. It's only a matter of time before they trace your steps all the way here. You are definitely more valuable than I am. If they find you missing, there will be a great commotion throughout the entire Yin and Yang sect, said Jiang Yuochen. How long do you think they will take to trace our steps all the way to this medieval relic? Saint Lady frowned slightly and said, it's hard to say. It depends on how long they take to even realize that we are missing. It is common for monks to seclude themselves for refining and cultivation for several months at a time. On some occasions, they may even take a year to confirm that a monk has gone missing. However, the Sword Technique Conference is imminent and both of us are important figures in this conference. I suppose they will be anxious if we do not appear within 10 days. This could be a good thing. It's a great opportunity for us to toughen our heart state. If I survive this ordeal, my spiritual power will be elevated to the next level. Jiang Yuochen gave the exorcism ring back to Saint Lady. He then took out the purplish black bell and placed it in front of Saint Lady. Taking special interest in the bell, Saint Lady took it into her hands and studied it. Jiang Yuochen retreated to the tail end of the boat and took out the auspicious vase. With determination in his eyes, He put the vase in his palm and then went into deep thought. Kai. A ball of flames broke out in his palm and encircled the auspicious vase as he began to refine Chi Hong's half-saint's light. They could not just wait for the superiors from the Yin and Yang sect to come to save them. They needed to think of ways to save themselves. To save oneself, one ought to strengthen one's cultivation. Not only did the half-saint's light contain the divine soul of Chi Hong, but it also contained all the holy Qi from Chi Hong's body. If Zhang Yuochen managed to refine the half-saint's light, he would have absorbed half of the half-saint's level of cultivation. Zhang Yuochen was confident that he could break through to the 7th change in the fish-dragon realm, or even the 8th change in the fish-dragon realm. Zhang Yuochen would then have the confidence to come face to face with some of the weaker half-saints. The half-saint's light in the auspicious vase gushed out in the form of thin light rays. They were quickly absorbed by Zhang Yuochen's palms and immediately transported to the meridians in his arms and into his entire body. Gradually, a layer of white holy light appeared around Zhang Yuochen's body.